Welcome back to The Good Pod, where we highlight the incredible people and organizations making a difference in our village. I'm your host, Jackie, and today we're having a conversation with a very special guest about mental health and the power of community support. Joining me today is Mary Hekl, the CEO of Hively, an organization dedicated to providing important resources to those in need. From childcare assistance to mental health services, they specialize in serving families and individuals throughout Alameda County. And under Mary's leadership, Hively has significantly expanded their impact, making sure that everyone gets the access to support that they need. Mary, thank you for coming to The Good Pod.
Thank you for having me and inviting me.
Well, let's get started from the very beginning. For our listeners who may not be familiar with Hively, could you let us know what exactly does Hively do?
So Hively's mission is to build meaningful connections with families and communities, ensuring access to resources every child in Alameda County needs to thrive. And we do that through a few ways. We provide childcare subsidies to income-eligible families, and we actually fund that with state and county dollars. To give you a snapshot of what that scope looks like, we have about 3,000 children every month that we're paying for their childcare to about 1,800 providers at about $4 million per month. So we have a lot of money that we're providing to the community through the state and county resources. We also help providers. So we help providers build their businesses, ensure that they deliver high quality programming, and basically support their needs in Tri-Valley. And then we also provide mental health services. And this is one of the areas that's really growing for Hively. And we actually do this for the whole community, families, individuals. And finally, we have family resource centers. So we actually have one in Pleasanton, and this has donated diapers, clothes, children's books. And a new thing, we've got our Hive on Wheels. We're actually taking our show on the road, so I can tell you more about that later.
Yes, I did see a bunch of pictures about it, and I'm excited to talk about it. And also, as someone who's at the age where everyone's kind of just having a bunch of kids, I'm learning a lot about how much things actually cost. And so you guys are doing a really amazing thing for these families.
Thank you. Yeah, diapers can be a big expense all on its own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So before we get into more about Hively, you personally are coming from almost a completely different background. So you specialized in HR leadership in tech and biotech, and now you're the CEO of Hively. So can you let us know what inspired you to get into the nonprofit world?
Yeah, so my journey with Hively in the nonprofit world started as a board member. In 2017, I joined the Hively board because I really appreciated how much having access to high quality childcare enabled me to kind of be the best worker I could be and show up, knowing my children are well taken care of. So I started on the board of Hively, learned a lot about the organization, really loved it. And then in February of 2022, we had an opening for our CEO, and I had just left a prior company. And I thought, well, I can fill in for a few months. I never dreamed I would be CEO. I was just going to fill in. And I really so appreciated all the work that was happening. You know it as a board member, but then you really find out when you're kind of in the thick of all of the operations and how much more we could do, how much more impact we could have. And so I thought, I think I can add something here in a meaningful way that really resonates with a lot of the things that are important to me. So interviewed and got the job.
And you said that you got in and saw how much potential there was for growth.
Yeah.
And you guys actually have grown significantly since you started.
Yeah.
So how do you explain that immense growth in such a short amount of time?
Yeah, so I think it's a few things. One, Hively really took the position that we want to be proactive. It's our responsibility to find those families. And so from the very beginning, one of our mantras was to find the kids and enroll the kids. Too many times in social services and nonprofits, the opportunities are there and people just don't know. So we really focused on outreach and trying to find those families and enroll them as much as possible. I think the second thing was really focusing on our operations. It sounds kind of bland and dry, but really as becoming as efficient as we could so that we would have more capacity to do more for our families. And so those were some of the ways that we really scaled, and then just investing in our people and our team so that, we're giving our clients the best experience possible.
And speaking of outreach and kind of meeting the families where they're at, you guys have Hively on Wheels now.
We do.
Would you like to share more about that?
Thank you so much for asking. Yes, it's very exciting. So we have several years of experience having resource centers in a physical location. We have in Pleasanton and Oakland and in Fremont. But what we noticed was, we would see a lot of the same families, which was great, but people didn't know about us, or it was hard for families to get to us. Think about transportation, making the time to come to get your needs and resources and such. So we thought, in the vein of like finding the families and serving the families, that we should take our show on the road, right? If we can go to where families are, whether it be after a community religious service or a park, or tag on to some of the local events where there are food giveaways, but maybe not the resources that we could provide, this is an opportunity to really expand our impact and reach so many more families, to not only give them basic needs, but the real reason is, that's one reason, but the other reason is to introduce them to all of those resources. So outreach, and I know that's something you do, we thought it was a really creative way to reach families and meet them where they are.
And is that actually running yet, or is it still in the works?
We had our soft launch about 2 weeks ago. Nice. We're building on it. So we have some components, and we have like big dreams of what else we're going to add to it, including, I don't know if I should give this up here, but we're going to have music and dancing for the kids so that they have fun while the parents can have some time to talk about the resources or shop for the donated clothes that we bring. But we're also looking at introducing Honey the Hively Bee, which will be Hively's official mascot, leading the children in all of the fun, and hopefully be just one of those other draws to help, just bring the families in. Once we meet them, then we can build trust and hopefully help them.
Right. And usually where the kids want to go, it's much easier for the parents to follow.
That is exactly right. Like if you can get the kids pulling the parents, okay, exactly. I'll go. Oh, actually I should pay attention to this. This would be helpful. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Well, switching gears just a little bit, you guys honestly could have just ended it at childcare, and that was the population you serve, and that was it. And it would have been amazing. But you guys also decided to add a mental health component. So why did you guys decide to add that on to your services?
It was fortuitous that we partnered with a nonprofit that was looking to be absorbed in 2019. So we actually acquired the services through an acquisition of another nonprofit. I think the idea in all of what we do is that you don't want to be one piece of the puzzle, because it's helpful, but it's not a multiplier effect, right? So if I can just do childcare, and then I've got to send you somewhere else for some resources, and I got to send you somewhere else for mental health therapy, it's not a great experience, and it's a lot of work. And so when we thought about like what else can we immediately add for families, mental health was high on the list, because not only do you have to have physical safety and a job to, work and bring, an income to live your life, you also need psychological safety. And there's a huge mental health just problem and challenge in this country and in this area. So it's a way that we saw that was an additive service that would really enhance the family experience for our Hively families.
And for our listeners who are unfamiliar with the world of psychology, I encourage you to check out Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Excellent call out.
So you guys are providing mental health services now. And from my personal experience and just chatting with friends over the years, finding a therapist can be very tough. Finding the right therapist can sometimes be nearly impossible.
Yes.
So how do you guys alleviate some of those barriers that some people come across as far as finding the right mental health professional or resource in general?
One of the ways that we are trying to make a small dent in that big issue is we have a large training program. So we have trainees that are going through their degree program, need practicum hours, and so we provide excellent supervision, a variety of clients, supportive atmosphere to help nurture those therapists who then, are in training, and then they become, on their path to being licensed. And so really trying to be a part of the process of creating more therapists is one thing that we're doing. I think just access in general, we primarily do Medi-Cal, whether it's through Medi-Cal proper or Alameda Alliance. And so a lot of times that's even less opportunity, or there's less just therapists in that pool. And so focusing on just that, we don't take other types of insurance. We do some private pay, which is like sliding scale, but really just trying to make that one focus area more available and accessible is another thing that we're doing. There's something else that we are looking to do, but haven't quite been able to invest and hoping that is the next thing, is there are new ways that that Medi-Cal in particular is going to fund therapist type people. So one is peer support specialist. And I love this. It's a person who's had lived experience. Mm-hmm. They don't necessarily have a degree or need a degree. They do need to go through a training program, and they need to be supervised. But when you think about, especially for parents, like think about someone who's going through postpartum depression. There's definitely a licensed therapeutic element, but there's also like, I've been through this and I can relate, and here's some things that helped me, which sometimes is as effective as a licensed therapist. And so it's something we really want to look into to try and like crack that nut of more just availability for when people have a need that could potentially use that type of service.
That sounds amazing, because sometimes just having a therapist sounds like a nice idea, but then sitting in front of a professional kind of makes you feel apprehensive to open up. Yeah. But knowing that someone's been through what you've been through might makes you more inclined.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so Hively also offers therapy for our Goodness Village neighbors.
Yes.
And how does our partnership align with your guys' mission at Hively?
I mean, we are looking not only for families, but the whole community, and everybody's a part of a family, right? Like, how do you define family? It can be blood relations. It can be close, friendships. And so really we want to help people who have the need. And really, like you said, we're partnering with other agencies that perhaps can't have several clinicians on staff, yet we can provide those services. So it's been really thrilling to have this partnership and not only be able to, get to know some of your neighbors in your program, but for us just to have that closer collaboration.
Mm-hmm. I love that you said that. Everybody's family, everybody has a family, and knowing the neighbors for going on 4 years now, you really feel like they're family, and they see you as family.
Oh, that's great.
So a little more exciting now. What is next for Hively?
So some of the things I've talked about already that I'm really excited about, the Hive on Wheels. We're thinking about expanding mental health access. That's actually a big growth area for us. So we're going to be, over the next 2 years, doubling our staff, our amount of appointments, the type of therapies that we're offering. And so really going deeper in that to just expand that area. And also to really think of other ways to meet families' needs. So some things that we've added, we're now a covered California enroller. Nice. We are in Oakland, we can enroll families and have a grant into the Brilliant Babies program. And through that, we found out that every baby born in California has some sort of access to initial college savings account, right? Mm-hmm. So what else can we do? I think it's really scanning the environment and scanning our families and saying, how else can we add value, and adding on to those services and being really smart about getting to know each individual here's 10 things I can do for you. I'm listening to your needs, and here are the 4 that fit in. I'm going to help you all the way through to enrollment rather than like, here's just a list, right?
Right.
So I would say, enhanced family navigation, expanding mental health services, our Hive on Wheels, our mobile family resource center are just a few of the things that we're hoping to add to the community and add to our families.
How exciting.
Yeah.
And how can our listeners support you guys in your work?
I think, definitely coming to our events. We have a lot of volunteer opportunities.
Nice.
We have a lot of donating opportunities, from dollars to baby clothes, to wipes, to diapers. Another thing that we love to do is to partner with organizations, whether it's a company or any sort of corporate engagement, to come to Hively, do some work on behalf of the community, and engage in that manner. So that's something else we're developing, just lots of ways for the community to be involved in Hively and giving back to our families.
Mm-hmm. And before we let you go, something that we ask all of our guests before we end the episode is, what does being a good neighbor mean to you?
I think a good neighbor means... I've been thinking about this because I thought the question. I think it means just being able to see each person as a person. And like we talked about, like, there's somebody's kid, there's somebody's, parent perhaps. So kind of seeing them and acknowledging them, and then knowing that there's something going on for all of us, and not judging, and, not comparing, but just kind of being in the world with people around you, and kind of honoring them and knowing that their experience is their experience, and it's valid. And I say that because there are so many people in need right now that are misunderstood, right? Mm-hmm. Like, mental health is completely misunderstood, and a lot of assumptions and shame and judgments, and it's not helpful, and it's not true. And so to me, that's what being a good neighbor is.
Mm-hmm. And actually, one of our coworkers says sometimes we're all more alike than we think we are.
Yeah, I love that. 100%.
Well, Mary, thank you so much for joining us today and being on our podcast. Sure. You said so many beautiful things.
It was wonderful to be here.
It's very inspiring to hear about the work that you guys are doing. It's so exciting to hear that you're not just sticking to one population or one service, but you're really looking to meet the needs for everyone that you serve and continue to grow it and expand it. So thank you so much for all that you're doing for our community and the families in our community.
Thank you for having me.
As always, listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to The Good Pod, share this conversation with your community, and stay tuned for more stories. And remember, being a good neighbor isn't about where you live, it's about how you show up. Until next time. Thank you for listening to the Goodness Village podcast. Production and recording was done by the Goodness Village operations team with support from Crosswinds Church. Music was provided by Blue Dot Sessions. If you want to know more about Goodness Village, visit us at gvlivermore.org. Thanks again for listening to The Good Pod.